Yes.
I guess the golf course planted them because they were allowed at that time.
Yeah, when they were developed, they were supposed to be sterile, but they're not.
Really?
Yeah. Where I used to live down in Newtown, there was one corner where there was a big radford pear that had been planted, and there were, I'm trying not to exaggerate, at least 20 right there in the corner where they were.
Well, do they produce some edible?
No, and they smell like,
What do they smell like?
they smell like rotten meat.
Everywhere.
Yeah, they said there's tons of them. And I'm like,
I have a new granddaughter.
They,
I don't know if they're pretty good looking, nice looking though.
yeah, and they also break in the snow, and there are other things about them that aren't. Hey,
What do you mean break in the snow?
you get snow on the limbs break.
Snap.
Yeah, but they're terribly tasty. They're probably to remind you that they're more invasive than almost anything else.
I would not have taken it as an insult.
Yeah, knotweed and Japanese stiltgrass are both really bad, but the Bradford pear is worse.
Congratulations.
Hello, Laura. Lou, how are you doing?
I'm tired. How are you?
Tired?
Yeah.
You didn't get home yet?
No, I had, yeah, work, shopping here. So, yeah.
Hello, Sandy. Have a seat. There's a little extra handout here of a letter and pictures. And a new letter.
She told me what they were, but I don't remember.
Jerry, did you get the pictures? And the new letter?
I have better ones.
Okay, yeah, I mean, they did come
We
to
missed
us
you last time.
Yes,
via email.
thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, that's two of us.
Three, Jerry did it before he got in the door.
One thing I remember well, so I'm just.
It's hard to keep track of what day it is or.
Well, I had set my phone with an alarm and it never went off. I was down in the pole barn working and I thought, well, what time is it getting to be? And I looked at my 7 o'clock already. I said, I'll never make it.
So you joined by phone, yes? We had you by phone.
They had my phone, yeah, but nobody contacted me. That was another thing. I thought, gee, that's odd.
We had her by the phone.
And then,
But phone.
And I couldn't hear anything. It was,
I can't help that part.
I know, I left after a while because it was.
I mean, we could hear your.
Yeah, we
We
could.
could hear
No,
your,
but
but
wait,
it wasn't a total
what are they
loss.
doing? They're doing,
It's obviously they're finished and the caution tape is all on the ground. But I wanted to put something in the control, so can I just tell you how much for that?
yeah, but I mean, I bring up here, it gets transferred to Roger, figure it out. This is green. I mean, this is red, right? There we go. Now it's red, green. It is 6:31. How about we start? Good. Okay, call to order. Let's see who's here tonight.
I'm here.
Phil here. Sandy.
Here.
Nilu.
Yes.
Robert.
Yes,
Jerry.
yes.
Maya.
Yes.
Sean is absent. Laura Ray's here. Cole and Noah, and I saw Cole. Noah can't be here, and I don't know if Violet.
Violet didn't get in touch with me.
Okay.
Maybe she'll show up, we'll see.
Okay. And Carol's here. Okay. We have agenda before us tonight. First, let's approve the minutes of February 3rd. Anyone?
So moved.
Sandy moves. Second.
Second.
Maya seconds. All in favor, say aye. Aye. So it moves. We accept the minutes. No citizens here tonight. Ooh. No special events application. Action items. Thank you, Sandy, for taking care of action items. It summarizes our minutes and it makes it a lot easier to know what's happening. I drafted the letter on behalf of the team. That's on page like 30. It's at the very, very back. I'm sorry?
Do you have a packet?
Oh,
Big packet?
is there a big, another?
Oh, they're over there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see.
There's one with your name on it.
Yep, that's okay. Last time it was on the other end and I didn't see it this time. Pardon me.
And that was something we agreed upon, and you know what, I wrote it, I don't know if it was distributed to everyone.
Sandy? Somebody get Sandy?
I've got
Someone?
one, I don't know whose it is.
Uh-oh, has your name on it.
Oh, boy.
Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. Causing problems.
Sorry.
Yes, sir. Well, you know what Robert means, don't you?
Oh,
It means, well, similar, I guess. Fortune or fame, known for fortune or fame. I guess I'm infamous instead.
Wait, which one, did you have one?
No, I gave him, I gave him Sean and not Robert's.
It's okay, I'll just set this.
And do you have one?
Put it
I
back
think I
down.
know my name.
Holy moly.
So that was the
After
letter that we
whole-
agreed upon that I had sent out, so I did that. Laura, to provide budget summary details for park and recreation plans. And that would be pages,
All right.
I
Yeah,
think,
this was like requested or brought up at a prior meeting. I don't remember if it was the last meeting or the meeting before. So, and I don't remember who asked about it either.
I just want to get it up here. Okay, I think that's on pages,
Not really, oh, yeah, that is.
or is this part of your proposal, the pages 30? Proposed capital fund expenses, that's something different,
That was part of it.
correct?
Just a question, so the first part of the report.
You've got to
is
use
this-
a microphone.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, Laura. So the first page, is that statement of revenues and expenditures? Is what? is page-
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And then the second part is the,
That's page 35.
and then our packets
kinda
aren't
not
numbered, I don't know
numbered.
yours are. And then the proposed capital expenditures. Okay, thank you, I appreciate it.
Right, so these just show what's in our budget based on, information that we had from last year, of projects that are gonna be coming up for this year to do. So Kathy did try to explain it to me, how it all is, but.
And can I make a question here? Okay, so you're saying this, I'm on page, what I have, 135, or 35 and 36. Let's look at 35, 176,000. And you're telling me that's just for Parks and Rec,
Oh, okay.
is that correct?
Say that again, sorry.
I see a total of, on the bottom page 130, of 35, 176,000.
Right, and this is really recreational expenses, so they're kind of itemized out there. These are kind of things that come up every year that we have to cover in our budget.
Correct.
So, the easiest ones to identify are maybe,
Yeah,
like
no,
the youth
I mean, I
program,
understand
the pool
those.
pass and all that stuff. So this is money that's already budgeted, it's already earmarked for these different items.
I'm questioning just like the major equipment purchases, 20,000. Where does that come from? Did that come from this team, or is that, how does that, I'm just, I don't remember it coming from this group,
Yeah,
but.
not necessarily. That might just be things that were identified that needed to be replaced or fixed.
By the staff here, by
Yeah,
the
so
staff and the, okay.
Looking at this page, you really can't tell. On the next
Hello.
pages, let's see, the one page really is just not to do with us. It's just, she just wanted to show you that all these numbers add up together to what we're gonna see at the bottom somewhere. Well, the one right after what we just looked at. Not this one. This is.
Yeah, the
kinda-
one with 497,000 at the bottom.
So,
Right, so that number, yeah, really, I'm not the finance person for this. So park improvements. I think it's more explained in here. I think that's for the path paving that was, let me find.
what, half?
Path, let me find.
What does that
Why don't I find the other page of this budget?
Well, there is a piece that seems to be inserted into, again, I have
wait.
everything
It says,
numbered.
All right, so the pages aren't kind of next to each other, so.
it's the back page.
Yeah, there's one that has purple print on top, and then 2 pages later, purple print on top.
Yeah.
And it's highlighted, right, so.
Something inserted in
The
there.
numbers that start on the first page with the purple top heading
Yeah.
add up to this, and that's where that 3,845,000 comes from, which
Okay.
is all kinds of other stuff plus our stuff. So the stuff specific for Parks and Rec is the highlighted. So the park
Southeastern
improvement,
Park.
they had already put aside money for paving the trail in Polk Valley Park, I believe, and then for the tot lot being replaced in Southeastern Park.
And
That's
so,
gonna
and
cost
so the,
$500,000?
yeah, that's my question.
That's what they have.
That's what
Okay.
they estimate,
I
okay.
apologize for being late, because you're just kind of like, what you were talking about.
Page,
We're just reviewing, because somebody had asked in the past to see like
yeah, this is
what
what we're doing.
budgeted amounts are for Parks and Rec.
Yeah,
So these are already tagged and earmarked for specific projects, so it's not that it's available right now
I
to
guess
do
my
something else
question
with.
is, it seems like these type of things are generated outside of this group. And,
Yes.
and if that's normal, I don't know what's normal.
I
and-
mean, it's like what we talk about this year could maybe feed into what
Okay.
gets budgeted for next year. So if we said Park X has, all the benches are broken and all the equipment's broken, we could be talking about, well, let's get that park fixed up.
Yeah, you can make
So-
But
recommendations.
Yeah,
I mean,
these might
being
have
here
rolled over
last
from
year,
past recommendations.
I'm just wondering, like, being here last year, I don't remember us talking about that. But if the staff is doing that, I guess, how do they communicate to this team that's in the budget? I would say that would be a good, healthy thing to try to figure out. I had no idea there's 500,000 that was being spent for that. And not against it or anything, I'm just wondering how that happens. If staff has that ability to do that, I think that's fine.
Well, and I guess
think
some of it also comes from like the public works guys that are out
they're walking around,
the
yeah.
stuff that they do in the parks, and they identify projects. Some of them involve work they're gonna be doing.
Could so like the budget is finalized in what month?
Kathy,
Here, do you wanna use this?
Well-
Do you wanna use this?
We start talking about it in October.
Okay.
It has to be finalized by December 30th, is it?
31st. Yes, but what I was gonna say is Kathy's probably preparing it now. And, like, I think she sends around an email, like, asking different groups, like, for submissions, like suggestions, and, like, so I think that if this group would like to say, you know what, we're looking at this park and really it needs help, you know what I'm saying? That we would like to recommend X number, or this looked into and see. And sometimes a grant will pop up and Kathy will say, oh, this was on our wish list and let's apply for it.
And speaking of wish list, that's popped in my head. So Kathy did say, there, in here somewhere is our chart of items that we are either working on, thinking of working on, want to work on. It's in here somewhere, yeah, it looks like that. What Carol held up, it has
Yeah.
some colors on it. So I know we went through that at some point.
Correct.
I'd say. So that's a place where they grab ideas from to see if it could fit into the budget. Like Priscilla said, if they see a grant that comes up, that might match up to something we have on the wish list, et cetera.
And like, how is that communicated to this team? Is that something that would get to me, that we can make sure it gets on the agenda so that we're aware of it? And for instance, and if we can do an action item,
Yeah.
that, and I'll make note of it in, I would say October, November, I'd want to be contacting Kathy to find out.
For that.
Well, I'd like to, but I'd like to know the final, what is being recommended and where the expenditures for parks and recs are going to be, so that I could share that with this group. If we're not fully informed of that, I'd like to share it with this group come.
I think it's October 15th. She has to give us the budget, is that right? October, November, you don't know.
Okay.
But it's somewhere there, but it's.
Well, September, let's make it September, that I'll contact Kathy to just get
Yeah, your first meeting in September.
to get a heads up on what might, that the staff might be including in Parks and Rec, that,
If we have something that.
absolutely.
On our list that, maybe we just add it to the list in the next month or 2 or 3, or something we want to bump up higher, could tell her as soon as you can tell her, because then it has
Yep.
more chance of getting a grant lined up, or. Okay.
And you know what, I wonder, could we put that, that'd be a great thing to have on our standard agenda, is keeping a tally of our things throughout the year that we think could be on that wish list. Yep, that we'd have, like, maybe right after park updates, we could have Carol, we could have right there on, and a running tally. How about we have a running tally of capital projects that we are seeing that we need, and then, we'd have it in front of us every month, and not lose track of that.
Okay.
Can I have one other question, Laura? In between your report, at least the way I don't know if it's in the hard copy, but the one that I have digital, there's a whole Parks and Recreation spreadsheet, fee in lieu of schedule.
Yes.
Yeah, so
What
this
is
is a
that?
different topic, so I'm not sure why the pages are like they are. So this has to,
Question before we go there, Laura. What is this
Can you talk into the mic there, Jerry?
anticipated, what is this park improvements, also funding related to Saucon Valley Rail Trail, if granted or is awarded? What are we planning there for Saucon Valley?
And can you tell us, Jerry, where you're looking?
it's on the one with the purple top with the yellow highlighted budget.
Proposed budget. It was highlighted.
This again.
It was
But
highlighted.
which page, where, what number? What number, like?
Ours aren't numbered.
Well, I'm saying 402, 409, 410,
It's account 452.
452.
452, sub-account 810.
Yep, okay.
On that one, it has also funding related to Saucon Valley Rail Trail, if granted.
Oh, okay, this has to do with I believe this is for the bathroom on the rail trailhead.
Well, that grant has already been, we received that
Yeah, the grant is, but I guess this was back in December, so maybe it wasn't finalized at that point,
okay.
this piece of paper
We
here.
didn't know we received the grant back.
Yeah, so that's why we put aside the money, assuming that we might get the grant, and now that we did, we need, I guess, matching funds, or I'm not sure how that grant was. So that's what that is for the bathroom there.
So it's the Reading Trailhead.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So somehow between the three of those things, whoever figured out 500,000, it wasn't me.
Okay. If anyone could give me, off the top of their head, of the Parks and Recreation right now, how many grants are in process or at work?
They're all on this list.
Maybe.
Oh, that's the very end, very close to the very end.
I don't know.
I see the ones in progress, but in progress is not necessarily a grant. It means that it's being worked on.
No, but there's a highlight, I think.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
green
okay,
or
no,
something.
no, good.
I don't know which one it is.
Yeah, there's a couple grant columns, grants available, grant application date.
And who generates this sheet? This wish list was just something that happened
Wish
a
list,
while ago.
I think a few years ago, they developed what they wanted to have on the wish list.
I see.
Last year, I think you, Parks and Rec tweaked it a little bit.
Yep.
So I just have highlighted in yellow, projects that could be, carried out by Public Works. And then in green, I have items that Kathy said, would be, I guess, covered or eligible under the DCNR CP2, C2P2 grant that we had in the packet last month. So these are some ideas, and I thought that I would include the wish list so that you could see the ideas that were, approved last year from Park and Rec, so that maybe, you might give Kathy a heads up and say, hey, we're really interested in following through on, this item or this item, maybe 1, 2, maybe 3, then she can, write up the grant for it. Just ideas, that's all.
Mm-hmm, good. Good, Jerry?
Yes,
Good, Laura?
yes.
Good. 3, under action items. Carol, survey's ready to go.
It is ready to go. And we had talked in the past that we wanted it to be, run with the, newsletter. The newsletter is hopefully gonna be sent out at the latest Monday, but hopefully a little earlier. So all the information I have written on there for the survey to go out to start on Wednesday, so I can have it, start promoting it, and it'll be live. It's live now, but I'll start promoting it on Wednesday, just so that we have the same information in the newsletter as, going out. So it'll go until the 26th, and we'll have the results for the next meeting.
And can something, can that QR code be put into something like Saucon Source? Would Josh do that for nothing as another way to get that out into the community? I mean, I'm glad to talk to him.
He usually does take the information that we put out and repost, so
Okay.
I can send it to him.
Great.
That'd be great, I think.
That way it won't cost anything,
Yeah.
if he wants to put it in there. It will go out on Facebook, and Constant Contact. I'll send it out to everybody on Constant Contact that we
Great.
have. So that'll take place on Wednesday, but everybody else will get it with their newsletter.
So can we have an action item that next month we'll hopefully see results of that, and we want to be looking at that.
When you say that it's live, where is it live?
The QR code, if you scan the QR code that I sent you in the email, you would see that you could take it.
Thank you.
You could do it right away.
Yeah, I didn't make the connection, pardon me.
Okay.
So, not to interrupt, you think it would be a good idea if we turned this survey over to our junior councilman so we could get it out in the hands of students at the schools?
I sent it to them as well, so.
Way ahead of
Yeah,
us.
everybody was on it. Everybody was on the email.
No, I mean,
I
but
guess maybe we
do
can
they-
ask them to share it with their
Yeah.
Sure.
friends and stuff like that on their Facebook,
Yeah,
yeah,
whatever they
exactly.
use.
Yeah,
Doesn't
I
hurt.
doubt they have
Yeah.
Facebook, I'm sure it's.
and it's worded that way in the survey itself, please, if you use the park, as a student, please participate.
Anything else, Carol? Good. Members, submit ideas for the DCNR grants. I know I'm not prepared to even know what gets covered or not. I guess that's one of my educational things I'd like to be more aware of. Maya?
So I've read a lot of the DCNR grant, and I attended a webinar. And, oh, sorry. It's astonishing how quickly I can be distracted. So the grants that I'm looking for about removing invasive plants there's no way we will have the information we need to apply for that for this coming year. There's a lot of information on the DCNR website. And of course, Kathy's the one who knows the most about what kind of grants are available. And there are minimum amounts that it has to be, and you can't ask for a grant of $500 or anything like that,
Okay.
So I think, so you can, I could look it up, but basically to improve your parks, if you're going to improve the park, improve access, and improve access for disadvantaged communities. Those are all things that they really want to see. Removing invasive plants, they don't say anywhere they're interested in, but I know who I need to get in touch with to work on that when the time comes, that I learned from some Zoom thing that I attended 7,000 years ago, anyway. So yes, new parks, improving the parks. It's not about maintaining the parks. They don't give us grants to maintain the parks. They give us grants to improve the parks. I would argue that removing invasive plants improves the parks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, in my, I'll share a little bit right now about grants, because in since the past meeting, I went to, I think it's pronounced Archwild. You can Google them. They are like the native plant species germinator on the East Coast in Quakertown. And I went and looked at all their greenhouses and all the people working. I mean, I couldn't believe what I saw. And they said, anyone who's getting grants to replace native things, that this is where they start. And they are really good at writing grants because they know that's how most of their projects are going to get funded for public parks and things. So that is would be a really good connection. And they're the ones that, when I was talking to you before, they said the first thing you have to do at the Sandra Yeager Park is remove, before you can really do anything there, you got to remove the invasive species. And the pearl, Bradford pear is, like they said, it's just terrible there.
Can't sell it anymore at.
Yeah, it's not legal.
They said there's states that don't allow it any longer.
We don't.
Either.
Pennsylvania doesn't allow it anymore.
Yeah.
But the cow's out of the barn 15 years ago.
So grants for me, I guess I need more education on what exactly is possible, and then to prioritize. What do we think? Just to say we want to go after invasive species, where do you want to go after? Where do we want to make it a priority? That kind of stuff.
The way I have been thinking about it is park by park, but that might not be the best way. It might be species by species. To go for all the Bradford pears in all the parks, to go for all the Japanese knotweed in all the parks, to go for all the Japanese stiltgrass in all the parks. That's another approach that we could take, which I'm not sure which is the best, but I had started out thinking about it just park by park. This business of trying to get an inventory of invasive plants in the parks. Obviously, the idea that I had of trying to get volunteers to go out and identify stuff and record it, it just isn't happening. I have about half of Heller Homestead done, but so there are I can't remember the name of these people, but, the state is divided into all these different sections, and I have in my notes somewhere what section we're in, and the person who's in charge of that, they help us do grants and know what's appropriate and what can be done. So I'll dig that out and try to reach that person. The grants, it's a DCNR. Just I'll put down person. And the other thing that I will do, if you would like me to, friends, is that I will send you a link to the page where DCNR talks about what they give grants for. Would you like me to do that?
That'd be helpful. Yes.
I think we got information on that at the January meeting. Didn't we?
Well, it's just that one paper though.
Didn't we? Isn't
I
that
mean,
what she's
I'm
talking
sure
about?
there's probably more detail online,
Oh, I understand.
yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else, Maya?
No.
We're good? Anyone else on that?
Is
Go
this
ahead,
grant-
Sandy.
Is this grants we're talking about, Phil?
Yes,
Still
we're-
talking about grants?
Yep.
What?
Specifically,
I'm sorry.
specifically, we want to keep that in front of this group if we're aware, the thing is to get aware of what grants might be available for what. And then, again, it can go on our wish list. And through the year, we can evaluate, does that percolate to the top so that we can get budget money for it?
Would that presentation that we had at the last meeting be one that we should have on that wish list? Saucon Valley Conservancy? Should that be on the wish list?
Well, is that Saucon Valley Conservancy, isn't that coming up under, isn't that number 2 under new business? Isn't there's something to deal with the Saucon Valley Conservancy?
Valley Greenways grant.
Yes and no.
Okay.
It's a grant that popped up last minute because we started talking about the bigger project.
Okay.
And it's one that the watershed group's gonna put in for if everybody's agreeable to it.
Okay, so,
Can we go back to, may I please ask a question? To Maya, you mentioned that they like to focus on, I think you were vulnerable populations. So that would be something like, would disability, accessibility type of thing be what they're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. So it wouldn't necessarily be,
Well, it would, I'm not sure we have this, I'm new in town, but if we had a section of the township that had low-income people in it, they would be interested in helping us provide a park.
a park that would
for-
be there,
that-
like Easton's doing, I think, something like that in one of their wards, and
Yeah.
they're using that to put a playground, but we're pretty well covered. But some of our parks might not be accessible enough, and that we could maybe use that grant. Okay, thank you for that clarification, I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
To improve the parks and to improve accessibility.
Okay, I appreciate that, thank you.
I think we would look at it as all the parks, no matter what the income level was. We would, I don't think that would matter to me. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I
Because
mean,
they-
I don't think we have that,
No, we don't.
but, if we had a corner of the township that was low income and lacking resources, that's the kind of thing they would give grants for.
so Jerry, any more on grants?
Yeah, it goes back to the stuff that Laura was talking about. Laura, I'll just give you the page. It was a fee schedule. This is the page.
This.
It doesn't have a page number on it.
Okay, yeah, so we kind of skipped this when we were going through all the budget stuff. Remember, there was these pages in between that are
Yeah.
Yes.
whatever numbers you have them, that
Yeah.
we. Yeah, so these are actually, what happens when a development goes in any part of the township, they're required to either pay whatever the fees, a developer fee, I don't know if that's the right name, or they have to donate land, open space land. So this is from all the way back in 1996 on up, so this money has come and gone, but this just gives you an idea of when the particular development went in. The column on the right shows how much money that developer had to give to the township. And what Parks and Rec Board does is you either designate it to the park that's closest to that development, or you designate it to go to what do they call, like the community park that services everybody? Yeah, which is Polk Valley Park. Yeah, the district, okay. District Park, so either Town Hall Park, I think, qualifies under that, and Polk Valley Parks.
They the only two?
I think so, because other ones are just kind of more like pocket parks, I guess.
Town Hall, it says here is selected because it's the closest.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So the next time a development comes in, like there's maybe a couple development projects
We do have sheets on the list.
in the
Down in
works.
business, you'll see that there's a,
Yes.
Sheets Land Development fee allocation, so
So that's what this
Gonna be
will
one of
be.
these. I got
Yeah,
it.
so we would either say, well, it's right across the street here, so the natural park that you'd put it for is Town Hall Park, but I guess if we had something big going on in Polk Valley Park, you could say, no, we think we should put it towards that.
May I ask please what the open grant bid
Yeah.
means?
Very end.
You know, I'm not the finance director
Oh, I'm
here.
sorry. Carol, do you happen to know
I'm
what that
filling in, but
means?
So the very end,
Yeah.
end.
Some of these are
it
still
says
things
some
that are
from
in the works.
2020, 2021, they're still in the work. It's like,
Well, there's still money available, I guess, that didn't get spent up.
A certain time limit to spend it. If
You
they don't, they have
do.
to give it back to the developer,
Well,
that
but
I know.
oh,
it was never challenged, so
Well,
we
Okay,
haven't.
I
Thank
think
you.
that should be a note, well,
Then we should spend
Well,
it if it's
we-
something that is
Yeah.
there available for us.
yeah.
so we can have Kathy check
We
into,
got open ones
I
back.
mean, you
what's
would think the
outstanding?
Polk Valley Park ones would be easy to spend, because we have all kinds of projects going on up there that we're spending money on, so.
Yes.
And is it written that it specifically goes to a park or recreation area?
yes.
Yes.
Okay, so is it possible to have Kathy let us know what is pending?
Yes,
What's
outstanding.
out there right now?
I'd like to know that too.
Okay.
What do you mean, what's out there as far as what we're planning to spend it on?
No, not what we're planning is, well, if there is a plan,
Old Valley Park is the split rail fencing
right,
it's listed as being in progress.
right.
But, there are some places where there's some pretty big gaps and broken pieces in that park.
Speaking of Mike,
Okay.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, one of the projects that's going on, listed as in progress at Polk Valley Park is a split rail fencing. I mean, it is an advantage for that to be repaired when they're playing ball there. There's also a metal fence that is attached to that to keep the balls from going down over the bank and onto roads and things like that, besides the fact that it's unsightly, but maybe that could be used for that.
So let's find out what money is available.
For which parks?
For which park, and if money is earmarked.
Well, the
that.
total in this recreation fee charge from Sheets is $6,600.
Yeah.
A little bit over. So,
But did I didn't see, is that going, it says park, it's going to the,
You have to decide where it's.
Yeah, that's what
okay,
we would
okay,
decide.
okay.
So this is all past ones that have happened.
Yep.
And I think all the ones that say open mean there's still money available.
So we
I
should, yeah,
don't
we
really
could use
understand
those.
the grant bid, what that meant, but,
So we just have to ask Kathy about that.
So
but everything above open, I'd say, is not,
Yeah, it's pretty old.
That's spent.
So is what you're saying, Phil, all the ones that we see as open, we should get on that?
Correct.
Pursue, let's find out, let's get some information on what's,
For example, we see the last one, there's Society Hill. That is many years old. So there's still money open there, and that could be used for this study that we heard the presentation last month about, right?
Yep.
well, we're gonna use open space money for that, for the plan, the master plan.
Why wouldn't we use this?
Because we can
Well,
use this
we can
for,
use this for
Something else?
work itself, or,
yeah,
yeah,
like
you know what I mean?
maintaining and improving the,
Yeah, the
We'll
open
have that,
space
we'll
money,
catch that, that would- I'm
limited
glad
what
to
you can use it
contact
for,
her.
I'd say.
you know,
Content too.
Kathy.
like,
Oh, I wrote it down somewhere. But she'd get this and she'll know that
I don't
she
know,
needs to do it. We
when
should
we
follow
review that,
Yeah.
I'll find out.
Yeah.
I would think so too, but. Okay, can we move
Well, that
on?
was the Sheets money.
Okay.
Can we move on to our next item and,
before we do that, may
yeah.
I ask a question? Could we establish a, protocol that people only speak when recognized by the president? That we have overlapping conversations and not, the person who's talking doesn't have a mic. And that if we were to formalize it, it might work better. And if friends don't agree, I am not gonna fight it, but it's a suggestion.
we're trying to keep that order. So the number 5, I have a feeling you have some say on that and Jerry has some say. Can we combine your pictures and requests with what Jerry's presenting to? Can we put these two together?
I just have one
Discussion about the
question.
Easton Ballpark. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. So you don't have any ideas for the DCNR grant? Because that closes on April 2nd. She
Well,
has to have that information in.
So may I ask a clarification? You colored on the wish list a few items in green. Do we have any idea what the amount of money that we're going to request? Because it will, like, I love that there's a wish list, but it doesn't have any pricing on it. So it'd be hard for me to say, I recommend that we apply for the grant to get the restroom at Polk Valley if I have no idea how much the restroom costs and how much the grant is. But I would recommend that based on the amount of money that Kathy deems appropriate, that we at least try to get items 1 or 4, you know, or even 5. Well, 5 is because you say it can be a grant or staff, so I was uncertain. But those 2 items could be used for the grant that she wants to apply for, correct?
Okay, so the paving of the nature trail, I know that in the past, somebody had mentioned that they wanted it mulch. I think it was Maya, perhaps. But Roger.
No, but not at Town Hall.
No. Okay.
The one at Heller, I said, needs
Okay.
mulch.
Somebody in the past had said they wanted it mulched once a year. And then Roger had said that he would like to pave it. So I don't know how much that would cost, one versus the other.
Okay.
But I think Kathy's looking for ideas and then she can research and see how much the items would cost.
Do we have any idea how expensive it is to put a bathroom in? Do we have any idea how much it costs? The bathroom at Heller, not at Heller, at Lutz Franklin is there. That was.
The composting toilet.
Right, but that's still a bathroom. That's, I'm assuming that's what we probably would aim for at Polk Valley. I don't think we have sewer accessibility there, so it would have to be probably that.
I believe when it was discussed previously, I'm gonna say in 23, that there is, not to the park, but up the street by the park as far as sewage and water, if I remember correctly. It was Mark Inglis that mentioned it.
I know there's some things that are around that area because of the school and what was available. Because I remember the environmental center, we had that conversation about what was there and what we could put and what we couldn't. I just don't remember any longer the details. So it's hard to make a recommendation to you about what to apply for, but if we have a wish list and we have an idea of how much it would cost to do the bathroom, they've done them, then that would be something that we might want to consider, since it's the number one priority listed
Absolutely.
on the list. And I think that's probably the most heavily used park at this stage in our list.
Yes.
So I would recommend that.
Franklin is the heaviest used park.
No.
The Polk Valley. I said,
number one.
I said, I'm sorry, I wasn't clear. They should be familiar with how much it costs because of the bathroom at Franklin, Litz Franklin. So they might have a cost estimation that they can use, obviously make it a little bit more because of inflation over time. Use that as the estimate and then apply for the grant to cover that, would be my recommendation.
Okay.
I agree with that. That's
The
great.
list was made up by Park and Rec, so that's why there's no cost
Yes.
available
Right.
here. So
Okay.
that's something
Yeah.
that you want to have researched, and then I can add a column on here.
Well, I think you can give Kathy this list, a whole wish list, if she knows that, what might be available. These are all things we want.
Yeah.
And our survey's hopefully going to help us
Yeah, but we have a
generate.
April 2nd
Yeah.
deadline, which is
And
less
is-
than a month.
And April, or when's the deadline?
I think it's April 2nd.
Is that
Remember-
annual? Is that always annually?
No, it's again in the fall.
I don't know. This particular grant is April 2nd, so I don't know if it's a yearly, if they do it every year or not. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember, what are the parameters of the grant?
If she's looking at a specific grant,
It's gotta be, it can't be used for anything. I'm sure grants are all focused on something.
It was provided last meeting.
That's what
And I was looking for my notes and I didn't bring them.
And when they put the, we got the grant for the, trailhead on the rail trail, is that a composting toilet? Does anybody? It was just, you don't remember that? It was just a regular, the usual toilet?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know I don't remember the cost of that.
No, but it's regular water and sewer.
We did get a grant for that, we had, I think it was matching.
There was a grant for that, and Hanover currently is, I guess they have to perk the area. That's where it is right now.
So we went ahead and, we went ahead and decided to put the rail, even though that wasn't as much of a priority to add that bathroom. We went ahead with that one instead of prioritizing.
Kathy got a
Polk
grant
Valley.
for that.
But Polk Valley, the grant couldn't be used for Polk Valley Park? It had to only be on the rail trail?
I don't know what the specifics were on the grant. I just
Okay.
know that Kathy did, that qualified maybe for that area. I don't know
Okay.
what the qualifications were. But
Okay.
that's what she put in for, and then that was what was approved. And I think it was a matching grant.
Okay. Thank you for that information.
Yeah, I don't know if that would be covered under this or not, the bathroom.
Yeah.
But if she's able to apply for our number one on our wish list, I would suggest she does that. And if that doesn't work, the town hall replace stage near pavilion, I don't think it's gonna cover that either, but not sure.
Kathy did put the highlights in green are what Kathy said
Kathy,
that would be
okay.
approved.
That would be
or,
approved.
Yeah,
Okay.
eligible for this
So
grant.
then let's go
This
with number,
particular
let's
grant.
go with number one. Let's
Right.
keep our
Awesome,
prior, let's get our prior, keep our,
New number one, since it was
Yep.
ranked by someone, and the section that I thought from last meeting was under the park rehabilitation and development, where it lists the rehabilitation or development of new outdoor recreation and park facilities. Examples were playgrounds, ball fields, but they don't list, it just says "and more." And I would think if you're having a park and we want it to be accessible, to have a bathroom would be appropriate.
Okay.
That was my very vague remembrance of that from
May I
last
see
meeting.
that?
Yes.
Thank you.
any other suggestions? We'll go with our number one. Can we move to number 5? And that is, we need to make or I know Priscilla would like us to support a letter that's in the packet. But how about wait, that's
Jerry's.
Yeah,
There were two letters, I think. One for the Lehigh Valley Greenways, and then you had talked about a draft letter for the Heller Homestead Open Space Plan and Barn Restoration.
that one we accomplished.
Right.
It's done.
So let's go with Jerry. This, and you supported pictures too of things that,
I did, well, let Jerry go first, he's a
Okay.
member,
I'll just chime in with your
and
stuff.
we'll
It's your account.
work together, Jerry.
do you wanna point out, I mean, you have pictures here. Do you wanna,
do.
do you wanna point those out? And he said for you to go and then here chime in.
You want me to show the picture? You have all the pictures here. Thank you for putting them, Carol. Okay, oh wait, these are the same.
Yeah, they're packets, so just use this one. Start
Oh,
with
this-
page one,
All
the
right, well, I
blue.
sent two, are these the both sets of pictures I did? Okay, so the first page shows, when you're up on top, on the top,
Please.
and you're by the, when you're up on the top and you're by those double gates, and the press box is next to that pole, there's a gap, there's a space over here that
I saw it.
actually a person can fit through there.
Yep.
And that's not good. I don't think that's good, because you don't want people, in my opinion, going on the field unwelcomed. I don't know, I don't play baseball, but I just think that that's a safety concern. And then this,
Let's stick with that one.
okay,
What you have there is what you're saying is a situation that children could crawl through there. That was my concern.
well, children, I mean, my boyfriend, you know, my boyfriend, he's built like, you know, he's tall like Bob, and he fit through there.
Yeah.
So if he's gonna fit through there, a child's gonna fit through there.
Well, what's
And-
gonna happen in a baseball game is this. No one can stand behind the umpire. The umpire is gonna be right in front of it. If an umpire sees somebody back there, an umpire has to move them out of direct vision of a pitcher. So I don't think this would be a problem. I mean, maybe we could you could put something up there, but I don't. Wouldn't take much to block that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it should be blocked off, that's just my opinion, but somehow blocked off. The next picture is, it's hard to see in the picture, but, the I-beam juts out like that much, so somebody could be walking, you know, past this and, you know, I don't get them. And a child, you know, hit him in the face. I didn't like that, so I don't know if that area there can be like kind of fenced off somehow. Oh, and by the way, I did talk to Brian today, and we went over some of these things, and he suggested that as a result of this meeting, you guys send him a punch list of things that you want the township to look at, and then, or send it to Kathy, and then she'll, you know, let Brian look at it and do it that way.
I'm sorry, who is Brian?
Brian Cucker is our township engineer.
Thank you.
Okay, so
Do you think the solution to that one would be to put that padding that they have around on the top of the fences, they have all around, if they put that padding on the edges of that, do you think that would satisfy it?
I can't answer that, but if you suggest that, I'm not familiar with any of this stuff.
Well, you're talking about the corner.
It sticks out, I mean, the top and bottom, it's an I-beam, and then you don't wanna walk into an I-beam.
Just for
Yeah, they have to
clarification,
round out or something.
we're speaking about that, all the yellow that's like on the, underneath it there, they could just cover that as well as across the railing, is that what you're speaking of?
Yes.
Okay,
Well, there is a
You
piece,
can see the top.
yep, you can
There's a
see it
piece
there.
of yellow.
Yep,
You can see that's the fence that encloses the field,
I
and
bring
that's
it to-
across the top of it. I'm saying if you use that, but those points, as you point out, Bob, they jut out there, and the padding
This is
made. I think it's something that Hanover
no, but
engineer
we're
has
talking
to.
about this thing or this thing, he's talking about the remedy for it, and I just wanted to write down the remedy that he has
All right,
suggested.
then I don't understand it.
Yeah, wait, I'm not, you're talking about this piece that sticks out right here.
Correct.
a piece here,
Wait, where, this piece,
This-
this I-beam that's right
the
here.
I-beam
It's
sticks
right
out.
here. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah,
correct.
yeah.
And then,
So let the rest of us see what you're pointing to.
oh, I'm sorry,
It's this
the
piece,
I-beam underneath,
Yeah,
it sticks out.
yeah.
right. And that's what I circled, and then I
Okay.
wrote down
And I don't think that should be.
remedies similar to,
If you talk about putting padding on that, that's something that's gonna have to be constantly maintained. They could take a concrete drill up there with a carbide pull saw, go down through there, drop a post in there right at the end of that. And that would keep anybody from walking into it and hitting their hip or their leg or a kid running into it. And if it projects on this side, most likely it projects on the other side, because if you
Correct.
look at the brace underneath, the brace runs all the way out to the end. They couldn't even trim that back unless they redid the bracing also.
so we would recommend I'm writing down what we're putting on the punch list, so we would recommend that
I
we
would, yeah, I
trim
would
it.
recommend getting in there with, and,
Yeah.
I mean, we used to do it a baluster, ballast post, baluster, we
That
call
would
it.
be the quick solution.
And it's permanent.
Sandy, if I could have a copy of your notes then, so that, okay, it'll make it easier for me. Thank you.
Type it up and give it to you like I did last time.
Okay, so that's,
Okay, so that's that. We took so many lighting pictures. This one, it looks like, the three are facing the field and the other one is facing the neighbors. So I'm really unhappy with the lighting situation out there. I can't tell you how unhappy I am. Those neighbors should not have to put up with this. So that needs to be looked at, and again, all of them need to be looked at. There's no, in my opinion, a lighting company should have had this figured out, and those little shutters or whatever should have been directed. Somebody told me if you go to Quakertown ball fields and you go there and when the lights are on, here's the field, the lights are here, it does not go off the edge of the field. The lights go right there and stop. There's no bleeding of lights. And I don't see why our park has to have that. I think it's inappropriate.
Okay,
I'll chime in on that. There's five stanchions of lights in the outfield, and along the first base and third base line, there are two of them, all right? Now, the problem is, unlike what I thought initially, the problem, I think it's called, the term is called overspray.
Overspray, okay.
Yeah, that goes over toward the neighbor's house, and it's from the lights that would be on the third base line, all right? Now, had a meeting with Roger today. Those are all compliant. The lights were checked, and they're in compliance with state rules. So what are you gonna do? The only thing that can be done is council. It has to go to council, and council has to make a decision what should be done.
Well, I'm ready to do that.
yeah, and if you have another park as an example, I mean, I'm sure, I agree, they have to have, there's a solution to that. You don't have to take down the lights, you just have to buy
Well, they did.
something and put something
Hanover
on there.
Engineer, they did a study of it and they tested it and they're in compliance. They're in compliance.
No.
Roger told me the only thing he can do, and I think he discussed it at a council meeting, is put arborvitae's up there. Now, I spoke to both of the, and I spoke to both of the landowners that have property over there, they're in the houses. And I spoke to them again today. And I said, you know, I checked into that. I spoke to Public Works and all the testing that they came out and did. I said, they're all in compliance, state regulations. They said, we're gonna lawyer up and do what I said. Well, you gotta do whatever you have to do, but I'm not telling you. I'm just giving you my opinion from what I heard. So it's in the hands of council what you wanna do.
All I remember was this little lady on Easton Road that lived by Cherry Lane, where it met Easton Road. And when the city of Bethlehem put in those townhouses, their lights were just spread out, that they shined in those houses. And they came to us and complained and complained and complained. And the city of Bethlehem agreed to do something, and then there's a name for those little shutter things, that they can direct them, and so that it didn't, what's the word? Not-
Overspray.
Overspray the property. And that solved the situation for those people on Eastern Road.
So let's put down.
So I don't
overspray.
understand why that can't happen here.
Yeah.
That's what I put down.
No,
I
Go ahead,
just-
Maya, once you take it.
I was just gonna say that whether it's in compliance or not is not the issue.
Correct.
The issue is that neighbors are being significantly inconvenienced and negatively impacted by the lights, and we need to fix it even if it is in compliance.
Correct, I agree, yep.
Well, I don't think there's a question about that. I know none of us would like to be next to the ballpark with lights shining into our house. So I know that, but I'm just saying from a legal standpoint, that ball field is in compliance. Now, Cherry Lane may be a different situation. This,
let's
I'm
just keep
sure there's
moving.
state regulations that.
Yeah. All right, so the next page, when you're at the backstop, I think, and you look up, there's a wall, and then it steps down, and there's a fence that comes up behind the steps, and then it stops. And, I don't know, maybe not this picture, there's one picture that shows, maybe it's on the next page.
Here, I have some, Priscilla, some better ones. that
Do you
pass.
have better ones? Okay. That show that a kid can walk up those little, steps,
They can
and
look at
they
them
can
and pass
climb
them
up the
down. I don't
fence
have
and
very
just kind of sit there. And the problem is, if we put up the fence behind the backstop above the wall, kids will climb up that and sit there, and then when they fall, they'll even fall further. So, I think that there's a way to, well, I'd like the engineer, I don't want to say what I'd like to do. I'd like the engineers to tell me what to do. Right, so you see how that comes to the edge, and kids are just gonna climb up there. These are better pictures, yes, Jerry.
How would you frame that issue if we want to pass that on, Jerry? And are you in agreement with that?
Oh, unquestionably, that's why I took the pictures.
Right.
I think that's one of the safety hazards that we have out there, and that's probably close, in my estimation, it's close to the top, but it's not the only safety issue we have out there. It's high, it needs some attention. What they might do is.
Well, we don't know, I have to figure that out.
Right,
We
let
just
them
gotta-
figure it out.
Exactly, we want to point it out to Hanover Engineering. We're
And
not the problem solvers.
Where do you see the location? How would you describe the location?
It's behind a concession stand.
Okay,
That wall there,
Yeah.
Phil, is about 7 feet high. And in the pictures, you can see it's almost a walking stairway.
yeah,
to
yeah,
walk.
yeah,
You
yeah.
can
inviting
walk up
looking.
there, and on the other end, you can just,
I'm gonna keep
Oh, I'm
them.
sorry.
you can
I'm gonna
just
keep
swing
them and
around
attach
the
them to
post
the.
to get up there.
Yeah, no, okay, good.
Priscilla's boyfriend pointed out, what's gonna happen is kids are kids, and they're gonna get up there after going to concession stand and watch the ball.
There is no concession stand at that park
Well,
Whatever that building is, the press stand.
for equipment. Oh, and the press stand.
yeah.
Yeah.
According to the contract, they have the ability to sell things, they'll have the ability to sell things if that agreement is signed by council on Wednesday night.
Okay.
They'll have the ability to do that.
Okay, well, so that's another issue. What's another?
Okay, so where are you now?
That's
That's
the
the
same
same
picture.
thing. I don't know where that red came from, I don't know.
That
Okay, so this is the other side of that pole, and it shows, this side kind of shows how wide it is. And like I said, that's accessible. So anyway, so that's another picture of that. Then the other picture we just talked about with the wall and the fence. There's only 2 handicapped parking spaces. And safety concerns and I don't know if you were talking to me about this, but I talked to many people about this. Supposedly, the church is allowing people to cross the street. It's gonna be, depending on, the park says open dawn to dusk. Well, if kids are there at night, and even when the lights are on, the light's not gonna light up Eastern Road for them to safely cross the street into that parking lot. So, to me, that's a danger right there. You know, how are they gonna cross the street? And it's only 2 handicap spots. And the parking spaces, in my opinion, have always been not enough. So,
But the idea of people crossing Easton Road is my biggest safety issue. That is bad, because all the traffic on that road,
so I
truck
was talking to
traffic.
you about that then.
Pardon me?
I said, I think I was talking to you about that then.
Yeah, well, it's probably the biggest. Now, I can't see a solution because there's no room next to the cemetery to put any sidewalk. And across the street, to cross the street there, you couldn't put a sidewalk on the other side because there's a culvert there. So I'm not sure what the solution is, but I agree with you. It should be lit, and there should be a safer means of crossing. Hanover engineer, I don't think will be responsible for that. It's something that council has to make a decision on.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
I think it's a high priority. If it's not number one, it's certainly number two.
Bob, what Bob wanted?
We're talking about crossing over to the
church.
parking lot at the church, okay? One thing that comes to mind, it would be a constant cost, and that is police sitting there with their flashers on at each side when people are crossing. That's not really feasible. Blinking signs that when there's a ballpark or a ball game in progress, maybe one on each sign, that might be a possibility.
Do we have the ability to put a crosswalk there?
Like they have at the Heller Homestead, I was gonna say
Or
something.
just even, just marking also the road and having something that's available?
Flashing that we have.
Yeah, the warrant, like I'm saying, if you put a big yellow warning sign up, flashing lights, ball game in progress, slow down or whatever.
At least as one, to direct people to cross only at one location, so they're not scattered around crossing. And then two, as to alert drivers. Does that seem like a recommendation?
Right, but my
Conjunction-
opinion, and you're not gonna like this, is that until the lighting gets fixed, those lights aren't gonna go on. So.
We're on a different topic now. We're now
No,
on the
no, I'm
crossing
just
the
saying
street.
that there might not be a need for that because the lights aren't gonna be there.
Well, but
Well-
if they're playing in the daytime,
Right, if they're playing at
Right.
5 o'clock.
Right, it's not gonna, right.
That's
Right.
gonna be scary for them to try to cross with all the cars coming and going. So they should still have that even for daytime.
Oh, I see what you're saying, okay,
Yeah.
right,
It's not-
daytime, that's correct.
It's not nighttime
Yeah,
only,
yeah,
it's
all
just
right,
access.
you're right.
If they have overflow, you're gonna need to have a safe way to cross.
I wasn't thinking far enough,
And
thank you.
and as far as directing them to cross at only one place, it wouldn't take much to put fencing there, that this is the only place they can get
They can
across.
cross, no, that's a,
That sounds good, but it won't work. The only reason it won't work,
Microphone?
as you know, the cemetery abuts that property. And the cemetery wall almost goes out to the road. The berm probably is exaggerating 3 feet from the edge of the road to that stone wall.
I saw that.
So that's a problem walking there. Can you see, 2 kids next to each other and a truck goes by there? All right, and they can't go straight across.
no, they have to go on an angle.
Well, there's a culvert there. It has to be looked at closely. I see it as a big problem. You'd almost have to have the crosswalk at an angle
Go ahead,
Okay.
Maya.
on Easton Road.
Maya wanted to comment?
So are we describing something that's different than a standard pedestrian crosswalk with that, push the button and the light
Yes, because
changes?
Absolutely.
Yes,
At that
because of the
location.
obstacles, you couldn't put a simple crosswalk in there. It would be,
Yeah, and at that location, you have problems on this side of the street and that side of the street.
Okay.
You're not gonna get any any government, allowance to cross-rate anywhere there.
I don't know enough about that, but, you know, it sounds logical to me, Phil.
And it's a PennDOT road.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we
friends,
can raise a flag about it.
yeah,
You gotta raise a big flag about that, baby.
friends, I need to go. I'm running out of steam.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye,
Thanks,
Maya, we'll
Maya.
talk.
Yes.
The next picture is the ramp.
Yes, so I think everybody's in agreement that a railing is needed even on the other side. The reason why we can't put one, and I had wanted to put it on both sides because I've had some health conditions that I need railings on both sides. Of course, you know, depending on what arm's affected, you need a handrail. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
when you're walking down to leave, you know, you're gonna be like crossing your body over to hold on to the handrail so you don't fall. I mean, it's, to me, it's, so it was suggested today that, well, maybe they'll have golf carts and they can escort the people, you know, back and forth, you know, if they need to. I'm just telling you what I was told.
Who's
So-
gonna do that?
Where they're gonna
I
store, they're gonna
said, and
store them
who's-
there.
And who's gonna do that, and how do you make reservations?
Right.
So this is a bad thing, and of course, the angle of the ramp meets all the
Right.
criteria. And I said, you know, some of these people that make these rules should sit in a
Yeah,
wheelchair
that's
and wheel
dangerous.
themselves up the ramp and down the ramp, and then they'll understand.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I'm very disappointed about that. And you know, they need the
But at
width.
least, but you're suggesting a railing on the
Oh,
pathway.
at least on the stone,
Yeah,
yeah,
At least on a wall side.
on the
on the
wall
wall
side.
side.
And I was told, and I don't remember what I was told by Hanover Engineering, that they couldn't put one on the other side, but I think we should review that, because I think a handrail should be on both sides.
Yeah.
Because that sidewalk going up there is not very wide.
No, it's not, but I don't have any problems with putting it back on the list. I would like both sides to have railings.
Yeah.
Let them tell us why not. The next picture is the,
Hold on, we're not finished with
oh, I'm
this.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Why was it that they said they couldn't put one on the other side?
Because.
Bob, I don't
know.
remember. It had, I think, and I'm not sure, it had something to do with electricity. Because if you see it in that picture, those are the lighting, street side lighting that they have on there. And there's electric cables, I think it was. They couldn't put stanchions in for railings. I think that's what it was, but I'm not sure.
I think Hanover's in agreement that a railing needs to be there. If we put one on the other side, you're constricting the width of the pavement.
Too much.
Okay, too much. And people will be able to go back and forth. Wheelchairs will be able to go back and forth. But equipment and golf carts and,
Emergency vehicles is what I'm concerned with,
they're-
like,
they're
and how
not-
to be able to get up that hill. Cause
I don't-
I stood there and I looked, there's a path that goes
Driving in
up the one.
fields.
no, they're not going up that way.
I was told they just drive up the field.
They go in
I asked about how
where
the
those-
ambulance get in.
where the parking lot is, if you look at the field in the center, there's gates. They're supposed to drive up on that bank, open up the gates, and go in through the field to access if there's an emergency.
In the field.
Over
But
the
what
field.
about the people that are in the stands or in the press box?
They
They'll have
will-
to access it.
All I know is that I was told that emergency vehicles enter by those two gates at the front of the field, at the front of the parking lot, and they go in that way. This is not to be used for driving, only little carts and stuff like that. Now, I'm not saying I agree or not, but that's what they told me.
Okay.
What they would have to do is take one of the carts that they have for one of their maintenance carts, because if somebody had heart attack in the stands, they could go through center field with the ambulance and stuff, but they couldn't, well,
Can't
they'd have to go through the players gate and go outside and up into the stand.
It was not thought out.
Well, I
Okay,
agree.
but what's our checklist?
I have down railing on wall side.
Well, there's,
That's all I
there's
have
really
down.
no solution to that
Just-
one either.
We'll just,
Just gonna put railing on the
one
opposite
side.
side, question mark? I don't know. All right, so can I go to the next one then? If you look at the next one, you see the press box on the left. And if you look at the tippity top, you'll see, is this the picture? I think there's lights on the both corners. This, the one on the, to the, see, there's two. I can't look upside down. There's one here on the very edge of the picture.
yeah.
And that's shining right in the people's house, right? Right in there. So that needs to be addressed, the lighting.
What shines into the neighbor's house? You mean reflection off that?
No, it's aimed, the reflector things aren't aimed down at the ground, they're aimed straight ahead,
Oh, okay. So it's
okay?
just-
So,
Just have that checked, because during the day you can't tell for sure. Because I was
Right.
there yesterday.
Right.
I didn't.
right.
So I'll have the check.
The next
Box
picture,
lights.
I don't know why he took that picture, probably the gate, maybe he's showing the gates. The gates, because the parking lot is lit up. And then the other picture is probably the same thing. I guess that's it. I thought there were more pictures on this. But anyway, thank you for allowing me to do this and listen to me. Thank you, Jerry.
And I'm sure it's not all gonna be fixed at once, and I'm sure things are gonna develop down the road that we noticed too, but.
Yeah, as we go, we use it. I don't know, Jerry, you probably have more stuff. I don't know.
What is that one picture of Easton Road? Why did Dave take that one? Easton Road?
Because it says dawn to dusk are the hours.
Okay. Okay. No, I think, we discussed these prior, and, I think we touched base with all of them. The parking is gonna be a big problem. Parking is gonna be a big problem. There's 38 parking spots, 2 of them handicapped. What you're gonna have, rosters are at least 14 ball players, 2 or 3 coaches, umpires, 2 umpires, sometimes 3 umpires, visiting team. You're gonna have that lot filled just with players, coaches, and umpires, almost filled. You might have, I don't know, 6, maybe 6, 8 spots. So that problem, we're crossing the street, is gonna be the biggest safety issue that I see. Because we're gonna be parking over in the church parking lot, and they're gonna be walking across that street. And that road, if you've ever been down Easton Road and all those warehouses, there is a heck of a lot of traffic down there, and trucks. And you're gonna have, you're gonna have concerns there, so that is.
Okay.
No, because we had this agreement on Wednesday night that council has to look at and sign, and well, vote to.
Okay.
Do we have a plan, is that scheduled for the game this year?
Well, the parks aren't open yet. That's, Mother Nature will take care of that, so that's probably in a few weeks. But we do have, requests in from lacrosse, from baseball, from softball, from, soccer, trying to think if there's anything else. I think that might be it, currently. So for the ball field, in particularly Eastern Road, we have softball, we have baseball, and then we have another league that was interested that they would only play and practice on Sundays. So that's what we have currently. But as far as games, they're still getting information in on games. That's usually the last thing that they work out.
But that you're talking about other fields, she's not talking about Easton Road.
I'm talking about East.
Yeah, I'd like to hear about Eastern
Yeah.
Road.
Easton Road is
She
a
said.
different animal, go ahead. you
Well,
go.
I did say we
that's what it
got
said.
agreements in for all the entities, however, I ended on Easton Road. And I said, currently, we have requests from softball, baseball, and then I said another league, which is,
Softball on that field,
they put in for that too, yeah.
who put in for that?
The Hellertown Lower Saucon Little League,
Little League put in for softball for girls?
correct, the Diamond Sports,
Huh, interesting.
Now, I don't know what day they would do it, if they're only talking about one game or not, but that's
These are
what I have
90-foot
information.
baselines in baseball. Girls' baseball is only, I think,
660, I think.
54 or 60, I think it's 50.
And perhaps they
Whatever.
wanna have at least one game on the big field, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Nighttime with the
Yeah.
lights, who
Yeah.
knows?
so it's a
I don't know.
special activity kind of.
Yeah, I just know that they put in for that.
So we got our list of our checklists. We're good with that? That
I end up
needs,
having, items, just so we know. And each item has a corresponding picture, numbered, so that you'll know what I'm referring to.
great, thank you.
Did you need those pictures or you?
I have one of your pictures as,
Sandy, but we don't have a picture of the most important one. We don't have a picture of that intersection going across from the baseball
Correct.
side over toward the church.
I don't have a picture of that.
That one that shows the Eastern
That's
Road
why I
ball field
only-
sign kind of.
That's why I only have 7 photos and 8 items.
Pardon me?
Okay, great. And,
Where the sign is, does it show
and
that?
did Jerry say he's gonna get that picture for us? Okay, Jerry's gonna get that
Note
picture.
that sign is the old sign, which is why it says dawn to dusk. There were no lights there previously, so they put that old sign back up there, so I guess we'll have to get a new sign.
Yep.
The sign that you took a picture of, it says dawn to dusk, that's the old sign.
You can
They
see
just,
this.
so it will have to be modified.
If council changes.
I think they're gonna
Sure.
have to figure out how to cross here and come this
Put a
way.
board over top of it.
I stood down yesterday trying to figure it out myself.
Okay, so let's move on to our,
There is some other things.
Okay.
well, do you wanna bring it up under your top, under park updates, or go ahead,
Yeah,
finish
go ahead,
up?
go ahead.
Let's finish that one, we'll skip you when it's park updates.
There's some other things that need attention. I realize that, my understanding, the township holds 20% of the contract price. Correct me if I'm wrong. 20% of the contract price for 18 months. And in that 18 months, if we see problems, we just go back to the contractor and get them rectified.
I don't know how that works, so.
Yeah, I think I read something on that somewhere. But whatever, we do have the ability to have things corrected
Yeah,
that are at the ballpark.
Leverage is what it means.
Yeah, yes, correct.
Yeah, on our dime.
Because there's some things that need correcting. It appears, correct me if I'm wrong, Carol, it appears that Hellertown, Little League and Diamond Sports are gonna be using that ballpark exclusively. And, they're gonna do the maintenance, excuse me, they're gonna do the maintenance inside the fences. All right, the outside is gonna be taken care of by the township. There's some things that I'm sure baseball people will identify with the soil that was put down, because there's some areas where things have to be taken care of, resodded and such. Not a lot of stuff, but there is the price that we paid for sod, to have the field sodded. Certainly we should have sod that's in great shape. I'm not sure. I guess we would just let that in the hands of Diamond Sports to come up with a solution, because they're gonna have to take care of fertilizing and everything else like that. So I'm sure that will be rectified by them, or at least if you want me, Phil, I can talk to them about it.
yeah.
But I don't think I have to talk to baseball people about baseball field. I think they're knowledgeable enough.
Can we move to park updates? Nilu?
Next time.
Sandy? Anything new or anything interesting?
No, I didn't, I would like to know what the tot lot is.
The tot lot?
Yes, because I walked all around it and don't know what a tot lot was, and I would have looked at it if I knew what a tot lot was.
It's at Town Hall.
No, at Southeastern Park, it's listed as an item that's getting repaving of Southeastern Park's tot lot. And I don't know I would have looked to see why it would need to be repaved. I don't know what a tot lot is at that park.
Yeah, I didn't know they had one there.
I think, I never had kids, so I never took my kids to the park, but it would be children, infant, you know, like smaller children size things to use at a park, so tot lot,
Right.
but
All of the parks, they're nice new equipment, and all of the mulch that's there is the appropriate mulch that goes under a park, like for safety. It's all done. So I don't know what would be paved, except
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what the tot lot is versus not paving, because it seemed like it was I just didn't know what it was. So
I know the
can't-
difference.
I can't,
And you still don't.
and I still don't.
I know the difference with the tot lot here at Town Hall. The tot lot is enclosed with the fence. It's just across from Public Works Garage. That was redone, and that's the tot lot here. And it's generally, I think, ages from, I don't know if it's like 1 to 5 years old.
So there
specifically.
isn't a way, maybe they're talking about paving a path to get to it, because right now you have to go on grass, and maybe if they have strollers or other things, it's not terribly accessible.
Okay, yeah.
There
no, I'm
there
not
isn't
sure
a
about
sidewalk how to
Southeastern.
get there, so maybe that's what they want to pave to get to the tot lot. I can't tell you, but I will look next time as soon as I know. But otherwise, it seems, there's a couple things that I would recommend, but that would be minor. And then I went to Kingston Park, and that, there's the only concern I have, and I don't know if Lutz Franklin is part of that park. No one explained that to me.
Can I say that
I
again?
think,
Is Lutz Franklin School part of my responsibility of Kingston Park?
Just the park itself.
Okay,
yeah.
because there's safety hazard at Lutz Franklin. It was all corded off with caution tape, and the caution tape is now gone. So if they were trying to avoid people getting to like an area that looks like it's under work, it's all covered in plastic and wrapped, like please don't come here and touch. It's just the winter, that if they still want it to be a secure area, they might want to replace the caution tape there at Lutz Franklin's. But the bathrooms are all lovely, everything else is fine.
I don't know, are they working on the shutters? I think they had a
No,
shutter
it's not attached to the building. If you go in the back corner of the building, so if you're facing the building, you go to the back. In the back corner, there's like a big, it's all covered in plastic, so you don't know what it is.
The
The
shed,
outhouses fell down. Didn't they
a
collapse
tree
or
fell
something?
on
A tree
them or
fell on
something.
There's something going on there, and it's all wrapped up, so you can't tell what they're covering. But all the caution tape that you had so that people didn't go back there has all fallen because of the weather. And now that it's getting nicer, there might be people that are walking around. It might be something to put back up just for safety.
Okay, the Sandra Yeager, I mentioned that before. Everything's good there. Sean's not here. Robert?
Oak Valley Park, yes, the dog owners have a complaint over there. They understand that the upper dog park has to be closed when it gets muddy, when the weather's foul, et cetera. But I've had some people who have been going there for years, told me they've never seen the lower park open. It's locked constantly. It's never been open. So they close the upper park because it's muddy, but then they are denied a park. The taxpayers that are dog owners and have no place else to go or live in town, whatever, like to go out there to walk their dogs, and some of them are saying they've never seen that lower park open. I mean, I can understand closing the one park to let it rejuvenate, but then at that point, open the lower park so the people that have dogs that need to go and use it can still get into the lower park, or at that point anyway.
I thought it was big dog, little dog.
That's what I thought it used to be.
I know people
When it
that
was
go out,
first open, but it,
Yeah, when I used to use it, it was
Yeah,
big dog and little dog.
I don't know.
yeah.
I would almost guarantee the little dogs are going in with the big dogs. I've seen pictures of
Because the other one is closed.
yeah,
It's just the smaller one.
yeah, they don't ever open the other one, but I mean, I've seen pictures of beagles with greyhounds, for crying out Pete. 4 or 5 dogs wrestling, in the park, getting along fine, and
Okay.
other parks not
So we
open.
can ask Kathy and
Put it on the
Kathy can
list.
ask Roger. I don't know.
Yeah,
Who
why
opens
that's
the
not
gate?
open.
I thought that there was, and I used to take my dogs there was a small one on the, if you're looking at it, looking down at Polk Valley, there was a small dog area to the left, and then the bigger one was to the right. And then below that, I believe there's another park, but they alternate. Now they're closed right now because of the weather, and I mean, both parks would be closed anyway, but they are closed to everybody because of the mud, yeah,
Yeah.
and if you wreck it now, you won't be able to use it later. So I know we get complaints about that, and I put it out. People aren't happy about it, but we have to take care of it or we won't have it.
Yep.
So, but I'll check on the second one. I know there was an alternate, but they keep that closed because if the original ones get ruined, then they go to the alternate, but they're not all open at the same time, but I'm pretty sure there is a small and there's a large that is open when it's open. And then the alternate is down below. I think that's how that is. I'll double check.
Okay, we're, Saucon Rail Trail. Jerry, Maya's not here. Anything happening with that?
Yeah, a lot of activity, lots of activity. But as mentioned earlier, the toilet at the Reading Head Railroad, Roger's expecting that it's gonna be, it's high on his work priority. He's gotta get some things from Hanover Engineering, and Township may be putting it in themselves after they have Hanover Engineering do some engineering things out there. So that should be done by this summer.
Is that composting?
No, I think that, he said perking, so it's the real thing.
Okay.
It's the real thing. Probably the only other good news is Bethlehem closed the deal with Norfolk Southern as it relates to the link between Hellertown and the greenways up in Bethlehem. So that'll open 1 mile of the trail, and it'll be linked up. It appears that should be done sometime in the future. I can't get anything definite on everything I've read. It doesn't give you a date. It just says they have all the money. They have a grant for $500,000, and they got another grant for $2.7 million, and they got money from the city recreation fund. So they got plenty of money to open that up from the greenways down to Saucon Rail Trail. And when they do that, it'll really be an explosion.
Yeah.
Of people from the Bethlehem area coming down and flooding through Hellertown and Lower Saucon, which leads me to the next thing that I talked about once before. I really think we should have a high priority of putting a lean-to up on the portion of Saucon Rail Trail. A lean-to to permit people, when it's bad weather, especially in June and July, when it's a rainstorm that comes on all of a sudden, so they can seek a little shelter. There's nothing else that we have in Lower Saucon that provides any shelter for the people that are walking or on their bikes. I don't see why we can't get one up. It's not gonna cost a hell of a lot of money to put up a lean-to, and maybe even put some low walls on it and put
And the location
pitch. I would,
by the outhouse?
pardon me?
Use the outhouse for the lean-to.
As a matter of fact, that's the closest protection they have from,
Yeah.
the border of Lower Saucon is out in Bingen, you
Yeah.
know, but I would recommend that that a lean-to be put between Meadows Road and Old Mill Road. That would be the best
Jerry's
place.
barn.
No, thank you.
That's item number 6 on the wish list.
It is,
And
that's
it
what I
has,
was
and it
looking
has
too.
no
We do
cover,
have
it
it.
has no color. So if that's something that could easily be done, perhaps we should make it a
Certainly could
yellow
be
and have
easily.
staff do it.
It could be easily done, and I think I talked to Bob about that once before, about it would be a great Eagle Scout
Yeah, I was just
project,
thinking
Bob.
the
I think we talked about it. If anybody's involved.
That would be a good Eagle Scout project.
Okay.
Anything else with Saucon Rail Trail? Maya's not here, events, new business, let's move on to our new business sheets. Fee allocation, page, very end of the packet. $6,620, and tell us what, we have to choose one or two, is that correct?
Because of the condition
There you go.
for approval.
Yeah.
Right.
Has to be in the vicinity, it should be town hall, and it has to be within the district part. And Polk Valley is the one that meets those standards.
Well, if they're looking for, I don't know if they need matching funds if she's gonna apply for number one.
Right.
And if they do, that could be used towards any matching funds for a grant for the, what is it, the concession, the number one priority? The restrooms at Polk Valley. So why don't we, if it's our number one, why don't we try to start putting money towards that number one project and get that accomplished?
A motion?
Ideas?
I agree. Makes sense if it's the number one priority to allocate for it. Do we have anything that seems, I mean, we have all that other money that says open as well, but,
Yeah, which we need to find out about.
because there's a lot of money that said town hall on it.
And where's the sheets going in?
By the Aztec,
Across the
Posada?
highway here.
Oh, yeah.
So there's no water at Polk Valley Park, correct?
Right.
So,
Be
We
like
have
a
to have-
composting bathroom though,
Yeah,
like they have at.
composting.
Yeah, they have to put something there. That is just
It's a
Just
huge,
reminding
huge
everybody.
park.
so many
Yeah,
people there.
yeah,
I mean, for it not to have one, and other parks already have it, is just kind of
Yeah.
crazy
So
to
I
me.
would,
Beautiful park and then you have
yeah. So,
plastic.
so how about we recommend that it goes to the Polk Valley Park and and if possible, earmark it towards our desire to, get the, bathroom installed at Polk Valley Park. Good?
Is that a motion?
You guys need a motion, probably. Make a
Is
motion.
that a motion? I second it.
I'll make the motion of taking the $6,620 from the recreation fee and put it towards Polk Valley Park and earmark it, if possible, to the restroom.
Composting bathroom, is that what it was?
Yes.
And then Jerry, you second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Support for Watershed Coalition, Lehigh Valley, Saucon Valley Watershed Association Grant at Heller Homestead. Laura. Hey.
well, actually, while she's looking, when I was looking for supporters for the Heller Homestead, project that was approved by council the other week, for the open space plan. I was looking for stakeholders, or whatever they, yeah, I guess it's stakeholders. So, I
Saucon Creek is a
contacted,
stakeholder.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they supported the concept and said, you know what, we have grants, we can help this park out too. And the mulch, like at the trailhead and all that stuff, so I'll let Laura go in, but that's how this all happened,
Yeah, so this is for a grant.
correct?
Focus on native plants.
What's that?
And the letter says focus
Right,
on native
right,
plants.
this is like, this
She's
is
not here.
right up Maya's alley.
She's missing it.
Yeah, so the one, like I said, the one project, when we brought that up and started working on that, the watershed got interested and they had a grant available that they could apply for, that they could start doing some things in the park, because it is in need of attention in all kinds of ways, so, we have a letter proposed. I actually sent a last-second change, because the name of the trail is not Meadow Loop Trail,
I
so,
thought I corrected all that.
well,
Here, right here's the
there are
change.
so many, it's wrong on,
There's a
oh,
handout.
oh,
There's
okay.
a handout.
There's so many letters and changes and emails, so.
What changed? Did I remember doing that?
Do you know how much the
I
grant?
know, but I had to make a copy specifically for Parks and Rec and for EAC, so that it has, on behalf of the right group name.
It's all good.
And
I
it
don't
has
know
this-
where that name came from. I don't know.
I don't know, so this is the letter, the one that was already originally in the packet. Like I said, all the words are the same except for the name of the trail.
And do you have an idea what the grant is you're looking for?
It's like
I think around I think the whole project, she said, was around 7,500, and the grant would be for half of it, and the other half would be, the township can provide in-kind services with the mulching and things like that, people helping.
So we don't really have to put out any money, it's kind of in-house.
So
It's
we
equivalent
provide the
to-
labor and they,
Yeah,
and
right,
they
and
provide the
that's-
materials.
Right, so that was a plus, and the grant was due,
It's
in a
due
week.
like next week or something, yeah, so this,
was like
that's
straight
why
off.
it's like, well, hell, let's go for it, because we were already talking about getting started on this park,
Right.
so.
So they were very pleased with the open space work that we're gonna be doing and the restoration of the barn, so.
So I make a motion that we apply for this Greenways grant?
Well, we're actually not even the ones applying for it, the watershed people or coalition or whatever, they're actually applying.
Oh.
We're just writing a letter to support them applying.
Well, I make a motion that
For
we
the
send a
township.
letter to support.
There you go. And the one you have in your hand.
The one I have in my hand, version number,
Yeah.
last.
Referring to the
46.
Nature trail route.
Yeah.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I was all excited.
Opposed?
because-
Anyone opposed? Great.
Laura, can I ask you a dumb question about this? How far does that trail go up from the Heller homestead along Saucon Creek? How far does that go up? I haven't
There
been
is
up there
a
in years.
map that's on the internet,
Distance?
and it's a loop.
There's a loop.
Yeah.
It just loops around.
Let's say it's not greatly marked, because when we walked the loop, we ended up up at the
Society Hill.
Society Hill, and we didn't know where we missed our turn to continue our loop, so.
That's the problem.
It's not real long.
It's great having Boy Scouts putting up signage.
Robert, behind you?
Oh, thank
Laura,
you,
did they
Carol.
ever think of putting any signs?
It's great having Boy Scouts do these projects and put up signage, but the wood disintegrates and people come and knock them over, and this grant's going to replace the signs and have better signage and connect the trail. But if you remember, the homestead sits on 2.2 acres, and the other 12 acres that goes out to Skibo Road, you really can't get to because of rocks, because of the drainage area from Society Hill and Four Seasons. So there could be future grants, and you can keep this in mind for your planning, that there could be future grants that could put a walkway over the stones and have it connect to the other side. It's beautiful on the other side. So there's a lot of possibilities out there.
And being close to the rail trail is nice too.
It is, and that's why I wanted to support this other thing that I was here last week about, because they're gonna look at the 14 acres. So,
Okay, so that,
Lori, have they ever thought of putting any historic markers down? There used to be a quarry, a hematite quarry that's along that. Have you ever thought of putting a historic marker along there to identify where that quarry was?
no, but that's a good idea.
No, but we can, yeah, when we're doing the master park plan.
Yep.
If anybody knows about that,
Well, I know there used to be a railroad tracks that ran in front of the Heller Homestead, adjacent between the creek and the homestead. There was railroad tracks, and that went to the quarry, and then it went to the Thomas Iron Works.
yeah.
So that
As a
showed
matter of
up
fact,
on
where
a
your
Sanborn map.
Where your rail trail was that rail line, that single rail line that went from the quarry, the limestone quarry down there. That would be another interesting marker to put there, historic marker.
Excuse me, can you pass it that way?
Because I live here, so
You live where?
It's a hidden jewel, nobody knows.
it's in here. I walked down through there.
Oh.
Just wanted to see.
Laura, you still have the floor for Heritage Day, May 17th?
Bob or somebody, Bob?
Ma'am?
No, I didn't realize it looped.
Well,
that's
sort
because the mulch-
of. It does on that map.
The mulch has
Your name, I'm sorry.
annually, like.
Don't
you guys-
take it, but it's.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Your name for the record. Your name for the record.
Oh, Christine cited.
Okay, and did you sign in so that I had your spelling? Okay, if you could do that before you leave, that would be great. Thank you, Christine.
Okay, so maybe it goes behind their trash?
I didn't hear what she said.
Laura, so what do you want to say about the Heritage Day?
Yeah, this won't stretch. How about the stretch?
That whole, that goes, you can lift the whole thing up.
Okay.
There you go, got it?
Guys. Okay, so
Pretty rough on things.
Any further comments on the grant application? We're good? Laura, Heritage Day,
Nope, I lost my mic. Okay,
May
so.
17th.
Yeah, I asked to put this one on as well because, so we could consider whether we're interested or not interested in doing anything as Parks and Rec, down at the Heller Homestead when Heritage Day is. So it could be information, information about all our parks, the projects we're working on. It might be a good way to get, like we're doing the survey right now, maybe it's people that didn't participate in the survey, you can
Yeah,
Q&A with people, so if we're interested, we could think of some ideas and talk about them next time.
Carol, does the
Or
township
talk about
have
them
a
now.
tent?
I believe we have a canopy.
Like, yeah, maybe they can use it.
Sure. I mean, I would say send an email asking you.
We can borrow it.
well, the issue would, do we have people who are interested in that, and what you might do to represent Parks and Rec? That would be the issue.
Right.
I have a wedding that day, so
I have a Trout Unlimited work day that day, so I'm not gonna be around.
I guess my question is what would be the purpose of us being there? Like, I would need to know, like, if we're just gonna sit at the table and hand out papers? Or is there
Well,
like
that
a
would be up for
purpose?
Parks and Rec Board to come up with an idea, if you think it would be
Okay.
worthwhile or useful. I know last year Maya herself set up on the porch on the widow's house and had information about native plants and whatever, so.
And maybe she wants to do that again.
It can be, like I said, people can maybe think of ideas.
Yeah, and maybe get her input if she thought it was worthwhile at our next meeting.
Yes, because I can't cover 5 hours.
Oh,
So I
yeah,
would
that's
need to like,
fine. I mean-
if you want this done, then it would need to be a team effort, and I would need to know how.
Right, yeah,
what
it's
that
not meant to be a solo project for one person, but.
How about we just put that on the agenda, make it an action item?
So people had some time to think about it.
And get, well, you wanna decide what you're doing there.
Right.
And are you handing something out? What do you wanna get across? So I'm, and it would be interesting to hear Maya, whether or not she felt that it was worth her time.
Valuable, yeah.
So how about, can we put that as an action item and we'll put it on the agenda for,
I think the people at the Greenway, the people that did this, I think they're coming and putting up a tent. A thing, because they wanna talk about the creek and stuff.
Yeah, I think the watershed groups will be there.
yeah, they presented at a few places.
Is there a deadline for letting them know we're participating?
Not really, because the Saucon Valley Conservancy itself, I guess, is, I don't know how that application goes. I guess they want to know who's setting up what and where with tents or
So I would
whatever.
assume that there'd have to be we'll check into process. Okay.
They're definitely in the know that they're in the process of getting it approved.
Yes, the
Yes.
Saucon Valley
I saw that.
Conservancy is interested in whoever wants to come and put up a tent about the community, about, whatever, and you just have to watch because there's electric lines running different places, so you can't nail your tent in wherever you want. There's a map.
We'll figure it out. Okay.
So did you ask Saucon Valley Rail Trail?
Yeah, they're on
Ask
here.
the Rail Trail Committee about attending it.
That would be a good one.
Well, they're one of the 4 hosts.
The Rail Trail?
Yes.
Oh, good.
The Historical Society, the Hellertown Historical Society, Lower Saucon Township Historical Society, Saucon Rail Trail, and Saucon Valley Conservancy. Join our 4 organizations for our annual celebration.
Great.
Yeah, that would be very good for them to, especially with the new prospect of being connected.
I don't know where they set up, but.
Movies in the Park survey.
Okay.
How'd we do?
We didn't do the survey yet. I didn't, know if I should do that in conjunction with the other survey or if I should wait. That's why I wanted to get a date. Should I wait, or these are the questions that I want to ask. I need to get the movie selections in sooner rather than later because we need to purchase the rights and they only allow so many in different locations. So I need to know that.
You should add the movies to the park, actually, to the questions, all in one.
All in one
Oh, that's a valid point.
into the survey itself. I mean, I can incorporate it.
Survey, do they even like that or not? Do they want to have more movies in the park?
Can you
or not?
speak? Yeah, that's about,
Yeah, I think we should ask, if they like the movie nights in our parks or not.
how would you word that?
Not a question here about movies. No.
It's a separate.
Have they participate? One of the questions: have they participate on any of? We did past 3 years, yes.
We did.
3 years, past 3 years. Have you, participate any movie nights? Well, what are your recommendations? Do you want it? Yes or no questions.
I think Carol probably has a pretty good idea of the attendance. I mean,
The
I only
attendance
went to
last
the
year
Polk Valley
was
Park one and
better
there were
than it
people.
had been. The year before was a little low, but the first year was good too. I mean, I have a breakdown, but last year's attendance was good for all 3 parks.
Can we ask them what type of movies they want, or we are limited?
Well, I have that. I mean, I do have a breakdown of specific movies because I need titles.
Okay,
On the back is the choices.
okay.
Just-
Yeah, you know
can't
what, just
put this
because
on-
we spent time on the survey, I think that's a finished product. I think
Two
we'd
separate.
probably be
We should.
putting too much in at this last minute.
Okay.
So how have you solicited this survey before?
Generally, I would do it in January, but it's been too crazy. And with this, I didn't know if we wanted to do both. So, I can put it out the day after. It's not in the newsletter. It's not something that I post. It's usually on our website, and then I do Constant Contact and I send it out through there.
I would do it
I
that
give
way.
it like 2 weeks, and then people get back, and then I take that information and
Okay.
move forward.
And do you have tentative dates?
It's general, well, I don't have tentative dates. The
Okay.
problem with that is, the gentleman who donates,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, I go by his availability.
And I'm trying to think, is it always a certain night? Like, is it a Friday night?
It's generally a Friday night, which I did in the survey last year. I did like days of the week, what was best. So Friday
Okay.
nights generally work out best.
I agree.
Okay, so we'll know more about the survey at the next meeting, and
I just needed dates, so if you want me to wait until the day after, which will be, the current survey goes from, the 5th through the 26th. So I can run this Movies in the Park survey, and I can put something in it, in the current survey, and just say that there will be a survey for Movies in the Park, keep your eye out for it, or I can even put dates on it. But I could start the Movies in the Park survey on the 27th, run it for 2 weeks, so that I have my information and, you know, pay for the movies and so on.
good, that's,
But I also wanted to note, next month you will have 2 special event applications. I have one now, for Saucon Valley Lax Day, but it wasn't enough time to put it on the agenda. So I will be putting that on next month's agenda, and, information was sent out to, for the Heritage Day. They need to get information in as well.
yes.
So you will have those, definitely Saucon Valley Lax and hopefully Heritage Day, for next month's meeting.
It's the 100th anniversary, it's the 20-year anniversary of us.
Oh, really?
What
We've
was,
been on the board for 20 years.
what was her name who was fundamental in getting that started?
Vivian's, the Otis's, the.
No, she was the coach too, wasn't she?
My husband and my friend was the first coach.
Who am I thinking of?
No.
Any other business? We're good to go?
Yeah, I have something for that.
Uh-oh, Jerry's got something.
Let me ask a question. I didn't want to bring it up onto the ball field. Let me ask the group. Who do you think should be able to play on that ball field? Bob?
Guys that play ball, people, men, women, children, doesn't matter to me. Really doesn't matter. I don't know that much about baseball.
Oh.
I was a fishing and hunting guy. Yes.
Well, I don't think you can do. I don't think you can.
Are there
do that.
restrictions on Polk Valley Park on what groups can use for soccer or? Are you aware of any?
Saucon Valley Youth Sports has a priority. So that's youth lacrosse, youth baseball, youth softball, youth,
Okay.
Soccer.
Yeah, okay.
So who can use it? What do you think, Phil? Who can use it?
I have
Anyone?
no idea who has an interest.
No, I
in it.
mean besides the leagues. I mean besides the structured leagues. Who should be able to use it?
Are you talking about priorities as far as?
No, priorities obviously go to the people that have agreements, but can other kids walk on there and play if a game's not at the league? Yeah.
I would
Yeah, I've had that.
anticipate,
I wouldn't-
I would anticipate, why wouldn't that be allowed? It's not locked up, is it?
Yes.
Oh, it is.
It is locked.
It is locked. And now
See,
it's
there's a
locked.
lot of things that are gonna be happening here, and it's gonna be happening at the next council
So is
meeting. Because I talked briefly with Priscilla about it. This agreement that's gonna be brought up at the council meeting deals with the Easton Road Ball Field. And I'm not a lawyer, but in reading it, it appears to me Hellertown, HLS, Hellertown Little League, and Diamond Sports have the exclusive rights for that field. All right. If anybody else wants to go on there, they have to get back and get permission from Saucon Valley Diamondbacks and in conjunction with the township. But if you wanted to take your neighborhood boys and go up there and play, it appears you're not going to be able to do that. In addition to that, how you get onto the field is through a gated man gate. That gate appears, according to this agreement, the keys are going to be held by Saucon Valley Diamond Sports and Hellertown Little League, as well as the township. But if you wanted to walk on and play, you won't be able to get on the field.
We don't have any other parks that are locked?
No. This would be the only park that we have that's gated.
And do we have any other park that has an exclusive agreement that that only them can use the field?
Not exclusive, no, not that I'm aware of, unless Carol's aware of it. Not exclusive.
Unless, because they're responsible for maintaining the interior of the field, they don't want anyone else to mess with their perfect field? Is that, or damage it, or that should be more?
We have, going back to keys, we have keys that we have made for the box down here at Town Hall where they keep the equipment. Just like they do at any other field, it has to be locked up so that nobody wrecks it. But I mean, in the past, we've never had a problem. In fact, Easton Road right now, as I stated before, Hellertown, I don't know the exact name, Hellertown Goats is another team that has always had Sundays at Easton Road Ball Field. It's mainly college students who get together, who have, who are, I mean, anybody who takes the field as a group needs to be insured. So we need to have all that paperwork, ahead of time. And this has always been like an agreement between both organizations, the Hellertown Lower Saucon Little League and the Hellertown Goats. So on Sundays, they, take the field from like 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. I think that's what the agreement is now. So it was okayed by Hellertown, Lower Saucon Little League, and then, they gave permission for them to do that so that they're not on the field that day. And then they have to get their paperwork to us. So if anybody wants to have, time on the field, it's got to be scheduled in such a way that, it's okay with the entity that's there full-time, so to speak, and then with the township. So
That isn't in their agreement, though.
I don't know what's in the agreement.
This is gonna be in the agreement, that they'll have exclusive rights for that field, exclusive rights. Overridden, obviously, by the township, but they'll have exclusive rights for it, the way I read it.
Well, as of right now, I know that I was going back and forth with the president of Hellertown Lower Saucon Little League, and they said that Sundays were okay. That's always been, and that's, that they've always given permission for them to do, to be on the field for Sundays. So I mean, we have a group that's been down here at Town Hall Park for longer than I've been here, over 22 years, on a Wednesday. So Hellertown Lower Saucon can't be there on a Wednesday. So that has always been. So I don't know. It's generally, it's worked out. If something needs to, if a team needs to get on there other than Hellertown Lower Saucon Little League or Diamond Sports, it's usually worked out between three entities, us, the Hellertown Lower Saucon Little League, and then the other entity coming in.
But for instance, like if I wanted to use Polk Valley Park with my kids on the soccer fields, which I used to do, I knew when games were, so I would not do it at that time. it doesn't seem like you're allowed to even use that field outside of organized recreation, if it's locked.
And you have to have insurance.
You can't, well, how?
No, individual citizens do not need insurance to go onto the soccer field and play.
Yeah,
But Carol just said that they have to have insurance.
If it's during a time that we already have an agreement, then they would have to leave.
yeah.
Other than
That's,
that, they
no,
would be
that's
able
not
to.
the question.
Okay.
Not the question.
That's not the
What
question.
happens if you wanna have a birthday party and you wanna bring a bunch of kids to that baseball field?
Can't do it.
Right, that's,
Cause I don't have insurance, cause I'm not an entity that has insurance.
If you're, say, renting the pavilion, and this has happened, town hall, they're renting the pavilion and there's a game going on down below, they can't obviously use the field, but if the league leaves and it's open, they can use it.
That's fine, cause that's, but we're saying if we're at the new field, the new ball field, if it's exclusive use, then it's not gonna be open to anybody but Lower Saucon, except if they deem they're allowing the Sunday group to go. And can I ask why this agreement's going into place?
Well, it's going before council. I hope council brings up these points because there's a lot of other points that I would bring up if I was on council. I would be interested in things like, what happens in Hellertown Little League? Hellertown Little League has lights on it. Hellertown Little League pays for that electricity. The borough of Hellertown doesn't pay for it, unless things changed since I was involved in it. But,
I don't know how
This
they break
field-
that
this
down, but their
field-
contracts are different in Hellertown. All the field space is paid for,
no, I'm
where it's
talking
not
about the
here.
lights. I'm talking about the lights.
Well, they pay for field space though, too. The entities, baseball, football. I don't know the amount. My husband was involved in football, so I know that they had a contract at the beginning of the year and they had to pay so much.
I
And
think
I
the
don't know if it's
question,
per game or what, but.
I think the question is, why is this ball field locked all the times? That at times when it's not being used by these other teams, why can't other tax-paying citizens that paid for this going on 3.5 million ball field send their children over there to play baseball?
yeah.
Why is this field locked? If this field is locked, why isn't every other field in the township
I
locked?
don't know
Right.
if it's gonna be locked. The way I read the contract, it's gonna be locked, the agreement. It appears that, it appears that keys are gonna be held by them in the township. So that would mean, well, the keys to the field house, the equipment room and stuff makes sense. But the field
Yeah.
itself, gates on the field, you can't jump those fences and play. You gotta go through the gates. And it appears that they're gonna be locked. And the keys are gonna be held by those two groups, township and.
Question,
Yes,
is this a public park we're talking about?
yes, it is a public park.
$3.7 million.
Well, so what I would,
I get that it has to be closed certain days for maintenance and to let it rest, that I get, Monday through Thursday. But then, like you said, if these groups aren't playing, why can't I bring my kids over and throw a ball around? That's a public park to me.
Well, that's why,
Just
I agree.
that's why I began with the question, who can use it?
Well, so is it, so Laura, this is coming up at the next council meeting?
Yeah, there's an agreement, where do they call it? There's the agreement that the Diamond Sports and Hellertown Little League want to enter into.
This is
An
the,
exclusive
Well,
agreement of some sort?
yeah, what Jerry was referring to, yes, it's exclusive except for when they're not having it booked, which I'm not sure, doesn't sound like that's too often, that it's not being booked.
Well, yeah, I guess I have no problem with that, but
And how, yeah, well, this other stuff though, about it being
but if
locked
it's not,
off and-
if it's not booked, it should be definitely open.
The agreement's online on our board docs.
Yeah, for the agenda item for the council meeting, it's a 2-page thing. did call the solicitor today with questions on that too, because it's like.
I would say, I think,
Comes up.
I would say we'd all have concerns with a public park being locked and not being open to the public outside of the use of whether it's a soccer team or, you know, approved schedule. We definitely wanna help the organized sports teams, but if it's not being utilized, it should not be locked.
And I
So
think
please take that to the,
I feel that because of the lights, I don't know what the lights is gonna cost, but I think somebody should be contributing, because they're using the field. I remember them coming before council and they said that they were gonna do fundraisers to help with the cost. I haven't heard of any fundraisers or any of that.
Doesn't even have anything as a regard to, like Carol was pointing out what Hellertown has. They're not gonna be paying anything toward the field. They're gonna be taking care of it, but they're not gonna be paying anything like Hellertown midget sports does.
would it be wise to find out what, like a Hellertown or even Upper Saucon charges, if they charge?
I think that's in the hands of the council.
Well, we could make a recommendation, we could do our own little research, and make a recommendation if that's.
It wasn't even brought before us, Phil. It wasn't brought before us. I don't think we want to get involved. I just bring it on because I saw what was going on at council meeting, and I know it related to the ball field, but my personal feeling is we don't want to get involved. It's in the hands of the council. But
Well, let it be known that I think, I would say, I think I'm speaking on behalf of us, that we think it should be a public park and open to the public, understanding that there are organized sports that will be having it, using it, and you have to leave at those times.
So noted.
Any other, thanks,
we're
Jerry.
lucky we have the president
It's
here.
gonna be.
Thanks, Jerry, for bringing that up. That's, I think, an important little tweak. Other things for the good of the whole? April 7th is our next meeting.
I move to adjourn.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks for coming.
Who's the president of the Howard
Who's president of what?
Saucon baseball?
Jerry might know. Go ask him.
I got the mics off. Are the mics off, Carol?